Alrighty, guys, I think we'll go ahead and get started here. Appreciate you guys being here with us today. Thank you so much for joining us today. Sorry about last week. I know we got had to reschedule. Ended up coming down with a nice stomach bug. So it was would not have been a good host for you all today. So anyway, thank you all for being here today, though.
Thank you for having us. All good, and we've been looking forward for this one. So ready to get started.
Absolutely. So obviously we know a little bit about your project from a high level perspective. It looks like you guys are really bringing interoperability and bringing chains together from an NFT perspective, which I think is so important. So much right now in crypto I think is divided, and it's kind of pitting projects and chains against one another, and it's I don't think that's the way forward, and clearly you guys don't either. So could you give us a little bit of a higher level explanation of what XP.NETWORK is doing and what you guys are, the goal and mission behind your project is?
Dima is our CTO, and we are together going to speak about both the vision of XP.NETWORK and the technology behind it. So to your question, XP.NETWORK vision is to create a unified place for all NFTs to be basically interacted with. That means that we started XP with a notion and with a will and with the idea to actually make it as it doesn't as no technical barrier at all or any blockchain activity requires to actually interact with NFT projects. Because we believe in XP.NETWORK that NFTs are something that can attract off crypto community as well as crypto community that wants to interact with more broader spectrum of what the blockchain and crypto spaces has to offer. So back in 2021, when we started XP.NETWORK, we saw that there is a big gap and a big need actually in something that will support the next generation of the NFTs which are coming. Back then in 2021, and right now we can already see many kinds of utilities. So back in 2021, when we started XP.NETWORK, we had the booming valuations of different NFTs, of different basically art collections of different kind of blue chips of NFTs, and the main controller of the market, which is still today, but we see that a lot of different marketplaces and different blockchains are trying to take that to a more normalized environment, is OpenSea and Ethereum. And we saw that many blockchains actually have the will and interest to actually create a competitor or another environment for NFTs. So we decided to start the bridge itself. We wanted to build a reliable, stable bridge. We will talk about the technology a bit down the road this AMA and how we do it all together and how it's different from other bridges. And altogether, we wanted to create the ability for users to interact with NFT projects with any wallet that they have without any consideration to which ecosystem the NFT project was built on, whether if it's a game, it's a music, it's a music NFTs based, it's royalties, it's contracts, lottery, you name it. Basically, we want to address it all. And by now, XP.NETWORK has 20 plus integrated chains. Everything is live in mainnet. We have 17 grants from major chains, and we have more than 6,000 NFT projects in the integration pipe, which our business development team works to integrate one by one. Altogether, we want to create an interoperable future and connectivity and make it overall much seamless and easier to play around with NFTs. So that's a quick few minutes summary of XP.NETWORK.
Yeah, 100%. No, it sounds amazing, and like I said, it sounds like it's something that's so necessary, like you said, for the future of blockchain. And right now, I think one of the biggest turnoffs I think of this space is that it's complicated, right? If you want to, I love this collection, but it's on a different chain. I love this coin, but I got to use this wallet to collect this, and all of a sudden it just becomes so difficult and so divided. And how I have to, for the general user, right? We for people like us that might be on it all the time, it makes a little more sense. It's a little easier, but even so, for me, I get confused sometimes, right? And get mixed up and where everything's located and everything. So having this interoperability, I think, is huge from an adoption standpoint. So, I think you guys are doing something that's so crucial for the future of blockchain tech and overall adoption.
Yeah, very much. So that's how we feel about it as well.
Yeah, awesome. So could you talk a little bit? So obviously you guys are, up and running. You said you already have 20 chains integrated. So as far as the stage of development, you guys are off to the races, what are maybe some upcoming milestones that you guys are looking forward to as far as, near term goals for the end of this year or maybe, start of next year?
Sure. So I'll first of all start by answering that, what's our approach in terms of milestones and roadmap. So when we started, we finished up our fundraising in June 2021. We launched up the token, the XP.NET token, which powers up the whole utility mechanism around the bridge itself on September. And by December or beginning of January, actually, 2022, we brought up. Actually, no, it was in December. Dima can possibly zone in on the exact date. We actually launched the first version of the bridge. So we've been very, very, very agile and really pushed hard to push towards utility. We started XP.NETWORK with our experience in the crypto market. We are a team that is in this space for a few years now. We wanted to address this company differently. We didn't want to prepare a lot of stuff backstage and then launch it only when it's ready. We wanted to push it live. We wanted to show the world that it's possible and that it can actually happen. And we first of all also wanted to, in terms of strategy, we wanted to get to a point that we are going to lock up the most amount of chains and the most amount of projects, and we wanted to become, the trusted place and the trusted brand for this to happen. So XP.NETWORK is extremely lenient towards utility, towards live products. Sorry, and we have 4 mainnet products. We have the bridge itself, which, as I mentioned, launched at the beginning of this year. And we have also the wizard and the widget, which is basically a tool that you can, just like a step-by-step wizard, that you can actually go and customize your own experience of the user interface of the bridge itself, and you can implement it on different websites. We already have several implementation use cases of that. So that's actually good for games, for websites, for explorers, for any kind of website can actually implement the bridge itself and give that ability incorporated straight into the place the user bases are on. And we have the main connectivity tool, which is the XP.NET.JS API, and that product is what we actually use mainly to connect NFT projects towards. So they connect to the API itself, and this is also part of the future of XP.NETWORK, which I'll talk about in a second. They connect to this API, a very seamless and easy process. And once an NFT project is connected to the XP.NET API, what they can actually do is to have the ability to support all wallets and all users that are actually going to interact with their project, with their game. So that is building up to our vision and to our roadmap in terms of technology. We want to get to the point that basically every NFT project, every game, every metaverse, every utility of NFTs, you can come over. Imagine, for example, you go for, let's say, Illuvium, or you go to any kind of game. Basically, we have different games on the use cases that already are implementing the API itself, and you can just connect. You say, you click on connect, and you connect with whatever wallet you've got. You interact with the game, and all the items in that game are basically being sent and received from whatever wallet you have, right? So that game could be built on Ethereum or could be built on non-EVM, Algorand, for example, while you connect with the opposite wallet, with EVM or non-EVM, and those NFTs are going to be placed in your wallet and going to be sent back to the game if you sell the item or use the item, or etc. And just if it's match, where the original wallet of that ecosystem. So that's the kind of seamless interaction that we want to create. This is where we build our technology towards. There is a lot of more work to do so, and a lot of innovation needs to take place. And in terms of more immediate goals, 2022 was extremely focused for integrations, stability of the product, performance of the product. The products we also launched, we can talk about this a bit later. We also launched the Explorer, the first place in the crypto world that you can actually see NFTs moving between different protocols. So this is on explorer.xp.network. And overall, the goal for 2022 was to construct the foundation of the technology and the products and the partnerships of XP.NETWORK, while 2023 is solely focused for utility, moving NFTs across the bridge, and expand with true utility to as much projects as possible and have those NFT reach to as many communities as possible. So this is, I would say, 2022 is more about the product and integration side, while 2023 is more about the utility and the communication of that technology to the world. So that's a quick summary.
Awesome. No, thank you for that. Yeah, it sounds like you guys had a really busy year and a really exciting one for 2023 planned out. So that's awesome to hear. It sounds like you guys are really taking the time to build. So it's super cool. I love the idea of, kind of like you said, hooking up your wallets, to the games, to the projects, and have all of these things just kind of running in the background with such limited, effort from the user. And I think that at the end of the day, kind of we were talking about before, is just that's the future of that. Right? We I want to complete some sort of action, whether it's, I think this kind of is going to spread as well throughout crypto, right? Where it's, I go to my wallet and I want to exchange one coin for another, and there's all these things that are going to happen in the background, right? Whatever it's bridging or swapping or multiple things like that, right? I just want to swap, and here it is, and it just runs all that in the background of a simplified interface that the user can get behind and not have that confusion. And the simplification, I think, is so huge. So super cool to see you guys building out on that for sure. It sounded like you wanted to talk a little bit about, no pressure to at all, but I heard you mention kind of wanting to talk a little bit about the tech behind it. Is there anything you wanted to share in particular about kind of the tech with the project?
Sure. So before Dima is zoning in, I'll say right away that when we started XP.NETWORK, the bridge itself, we wanted to make it completely decentralized. We went for the Polkadot parachain concept. We already listed up for Substrate program. And then Dima, with his team, with our development team, decided that we're going to forsake the fully decentralized model into a more stable product that we actually have today, which is working and the way that we expect to this moment. And we wanted to basically build up on the notion that every decentralized bridge, or I would say at least significant, most of the bridges are getting hacked. And we wanted to build up trust in moving up NFTs, blue chips NFTs, and having a whole games and ecosystems and protocols based on the bridge itself. So that's why we went for a semi-decentralized model, and Dima can explain a bit more about the tech itself.
Yeah, right. We see a lot of hacks of the bridges basically every year since the bridges emerged. And for that reason, some people say that bridges are not as good as they expected them to be. And for that reason, we're building a bridge which is very secure. We are very focused on security, almost obsessed on it. And so far, we haven't been hacked. And we're avoiding any potential architecture that allows vectors of attack that could be exploited. And like Nir just mentioned before, decentralization is a cool concept, is a cool idea. But as we could see, most of the decentralized solutions were hacked eventually, sooner or later. And so our bridge works as following. There is a chain of origin and a chain of destination, which you can choose from the supported blockchains that we integrated in the bridge. Like Nir said, there are around 20, and we have several coming up very soon, such as Solana, such as Nir, such as Aptos, and several other chains. So it happens like this. The NFT on the chain of origin, which is a native NFT for that chain, when a user sends it, it gets locked in the bridge smart contract. And the bridge smart contract emits an event which is caught by the bridge validators that are essentially off-chain oracles that listen to the events of the bridge using the nodes of each chain that we support. Then they deserialize this event, which means they unpack it. It's encoded as a binary package. So it decodes this package, extracts all the information in order to pack a transaction valid for the chain of destination. Because we work with blockchains that use different protocols, meaning there are EVM and non-EVM chains, and non-EVM chains usually have a unique protocol. So they usually have different rules how a transaction should be built. So the validators, they know how to build a transaction properly for the chain of destination, and that's what they do. And then each validator signs this transaction, And in the round, they select a leader who submits this transaction that is signed with a multi-signature of the validators. And the multi-signature is collected using the Schnorr algorithm. So Schnorr is the last name of a guy who invented this algorithm. It was an American mathematician who worked for the government, and his technology was patented. But the patent expired after 25 years after submission, and now it's available for the public. So not only the American government can use this technology now, but we are using it in the blockchain world. It's a very cool algorithm that allows to create one public key and one private key from any number of public and private keys, which allows us to make one submission regardless of how many validators we have. So this is a very scalable and a very secure solution. In the first iteration, in the first version of the bridge, every validator had to submit a transaction on the target chain, and the multi-signature was collected there. This solution was secure, but it wasn't scalable. Why? Because the more validators you have in the network, the more expensive this transaction becomes. Because each validator has to submit a transaction, pay the transaction fees, and it becomes super expensive. It was especially expensive when sent into Ethereum because of the highest transaction fees in the field. And so this is why we came to the second version of the bridge, where this multi-signature is collected off-chain using the Schnorr algorithm. And there is only one submission regardless of the number of validators, which made this solution very scalable and secure. So when this transaction arrives to the chain of destination, the smart contract verifies that the signature is valid, and then mints a wrapped NFT, which points to the original NFT. This wrapped NFT has all the metadata of the original NFT, plus an additional object, which remembers where this NFT came from, the smart contract address, the ID of that NFT, and the original URI, which is very important. Because, for example, if you're sending a collection which is a part of a game or a part of a metaverse, and during the course of the game or some interaction in the metaverse, some features of your NFT change, then you always need to have access to those changes, even if you're on a foreign chain. So this link allows you to still have access to this original metadata, regardless on what chain you are. Okay, I'll stop it here right now.
Yeah, no, I mean I'm super impressed. That's I have a little bit of tech background, but not as in depth as you're talking. So definitely sounds incredible. It sounds like a really, like you said, that I feel like every time we hear of a hack, it's one of these bridges that is having these issues. So it's cool to see you guys taking that so seriously. Especially looking forward to being, like you said, the interoperability bridge between NFTs. It's so important to have that security and trust behind it also. And especially with the cons of NFTs, I feel like that's a very common one at this point, a very strong theme of just so many people losing their NFTs at this point. So awesome to hear you guys taking that so seriously. So thank you for that in-depth background on the tech and the security behind the project as a whole. So going forward, what's interesting, I'm assuming you guys have some interesting insight to the different NFT communities around the various blockchains too. I mean, being able to kind of see so many different chains and see the interactions between them. Is there anything you can tell us about like the different, communities, NFT communities, I guess, on the space? And, is there any chain that really just dominates right now? Obviously Ethereum is the probably main one, but is there any surprises or up and coming chains that are really doing a good job with building NFT networks?
Well, you are correct to say that Ethereum is the leader at the moment, and OpenSea is the leading marketplace in the field. If you compare it even to itself, OpenSea, if you compare it how it behaves on Ethereum and, for example, on Polygon, then you would see that there are more transactions and more active wallets per day on Ethereum in OpenSea than in Polygon, even though Polygon is doing a real good job catching up with Ethereum, and it really has a lot of transactions. The recent thing that we noticed is that OpenSea started supporting BSC, Binance Smart Chain, which was a big surprise for us. We also had a lot of collections bridged to BSC, and they were not prepared for being listed on OpenSea. I mean, the collections were not, when you create a collection, then you first actually have to set different things in the OpenSea for the collection to look great, like the banner, the logo, the description, and everything. And then projects found themselves on OpenSea with empty collections. So that was a big surprise for everyone. But anyway, it's good news that BSC is also available on OpenSea right now, and Solana was added like a couple of months ago. What surprises we have here is that we are finishing our TON integration. This is one of the chains where we received a grant, and in 2-3 weeks, people will be able to bridge to and from TON, which is the Telegram blockchain. There will be big events. There will be giveaways. Several big collections are planning to migrate to TON, and there'll be a lot of fuzz about it. It is supported by the top team members on TON, so that will be a huge event.
Yeah, no, it sounds like I actually wasn't even aware that the Telegram was out of blockchain coming out, so that's super interesting.
They're going to have a huge. They already have about 600,000 users on Telegram, and we estimate that at least half of them will soon be involved in NFT trading or like at least owing.
Wow.
So yeah, it's going to be a big event in the NFT world.
I mean, that'll definitely be the ease of interaction between users on Telegram and NFTs could be really interesting. It could definitely, we'll see what Telegram, I guess what they do with the app, but do you know that if Telegram plans to become a marketplace as well then?
There are several marketplaces on Telegram, and we spoke with one of them today, and we even had a very unusual conversation, which well, I'm sure you understand that we have lots of conversations with NFT projects and marketplaces and blockchains, and everything is around NFTs, but today we had something unusual, and I thought maybe it would be interesting for you to know. So the following question was raised. Several people transferred part of an NFT collection to a foreign chain, and the rarity of each NFT is calculated from the rarity of individual attributes of this NFT. And as long as this collection is consistent, meaning you see 100% of this collection, it's easy to calculate its rarity, right? Because you see that there are like 4,000 NFTs in this specific collection, and then you can see how many of those NFTs have this or that attribute, and so you can calculate its rarity. But a strange thing happens, like you see, because we are pioneering in NFT bridging, we are really one of the first NFT specific bridges that has so many non-EVM chains integrated. Nobody else has this number of non-EVMs. So we encounter things that nobody encountered before. So when you bridge a part of your collection to a foreign chain, then the calculation of rarity is made from this small part of the collection that you have on the foreign chain. So for example, if you transferred, let's say 100 NFTs out of 4,000, so then the percentage of rarity really changes because all the calculation is made from this 100, and the other blockchain or the market on the other blockchain, actually it was OpenSea. It has no idea about the existence of the rest of the collection.
Wow, yeah, so, that's a problem.
Yes, you see. And for example, someone bought an NFT which was like in 1% of rare NFTs in the collection on the chain of origin, and when you transfer it to a foreign chain, it can become like 1 in 10% of rare NFTs, because the calculation is made from this small group of NFTs that it sees there. So there are several solutions that we came up with today. One of the solutions is that because collections start becoming cross-chain, they should also change a little bit, and maybe it should be updated in the standard itself, that the rarity should be calculated at the moment of minting the collection. So usually an NFT collection is created in a script, not manually. You can't, you can, but it doesn't make sense to manually create 10,000 NFTs, for example. So usually people write a script that randomly places this or that attribute in this or that NFT, and then it adjusts the picture for that. And then basically the script is also capable of calculating its rarity. And this is probably what collections should do in the future. It's like, I can give you an example from real life. Like imagine you live in your country and you never leave this country, right? Then you're fine with a local ID. But whenever you want to travel abroad, you need a foreign passport, right? You need a passport that will say that you're coming from this country, which is different from your local ID. So this is something that NFT collections should have in order to become cross-chain. For those NFTs who already exist and don't have this feature, there is a different approach. So the approach is the following. Like I told you, because NFTs that are transferred to foreign chains, they are locked in the bridge smart contract. It means the collection is still consistent on the chain of origin. And you can still get the rarity of this or that NFT by its ID on the chain of origin. So all the tools that calculate an NFT rarity, they shouldn't, if they see that this NFT is bridged, it came from a foreign chain, they shouldn't rely on the calculation on the chain of destination on the foreign chain, but rather they should go to the original chain and get the rarity from there. This is the second approach that, dwellers of this new world should apply. And it's very important that the owners of NFTs understand this. It's very, very important for the buyers, for the collectors, for traders to understand this new thing that we recently discovered.
So that's going to be up to the creators of the NFTs themselves, if they want to have a collection that stays consistent with the rarities, to make sure that they put that into the script to calculate, on origin or on creation of the NFTs themselves.
Yeah, or the second way, you don't check the rarity of an NFT which was bridged, but you go to the original collection and you get the rarity from there. This is the second approach for the NFTs that were minted before the world of cross-chain collections.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. It's an interesting problem, and I'm sure we'll, as you guys in this world continues to innovate within this space, I'm sure we'll come up with all these kind of interesting situations that we'll have to kind of navigate through and figure out these solutions, and hopefully just continue to spread the knowledge about these problems as they arise. So, definitely interesting situations that we're going to be finding ourselves in for sure.
Yep.
Also, I'm sure you guys have some insight with this as well, but something we've been thinking a lot about on our side of things with the whole bear market and with the obviously lack of excitement in the space as a whole. Just any particular insights that you see in the markets, how the market has affected, I guess, the NFT communities, and are there any pros or positive aspects of this kind of downtime in the market? I know it's definitely kind of only the strong will survive, in my opinion, environment, which can be good, but I don't know, just hearing your thoughts on the current conditions of the market and how it's affected the NFT communities.
Okay, so what we see is that NFTs are slowly migrating towards having some utility from rather being just pictures for collectors or how to call them properly, speculators, okay, from people who just tend to buy some NFTs expecting someone to buy them at a higher price. Okay, so I think this kind of NFTs are slowly leaving the market because people start understanding that, okay, you bought an NFT, okay, maybe somebody bought it from you at a higher rate, and what's next? Okay, what are you going to do with this? So more projects are thinking how to utilize those NFTs, and there are more and more projects that we encounter that have some utility of an NFT after you purchased it. So the most widespread utility is, of course, connected with either gaming or metaverses, where the NFTs act as characters, act as I don't know, swords or shields or any other things that you can use either in a game or in a metaverse. Another big group of NFTs are domains. They can be like domain names that you can use on the internet. They can become domain names for your website, but also they could be your identity in the crypto world. For example, we recently partnered with Unstoppable Domains. I think they're one of the best and the most famous collection of NFTs with domains. And we already implemented their domains as keys to log into the bridge. So, for example, now instead of giving the public key of your wallet, of your account, which is hard to remember because it's just a bunch of numbers and letters, you can just provide your unstoppable domain, which is a name that makes sense to you, that looks like a website URL, and it will provide all the NFTs that this account owns in this or that blockchain. You can do the same instead of providing the target address, the account that will receive the NFTs on the other side. You can do the same with the Unstoppable Domains account. So you provide something that you can easily remember instead of some gibberish public key. We also see utilities of KYC, where NFTs can be used, again, as identity, which has some background and meaning for the parties, okay? So these are the things that we already observe, and I'm sure that more and more utilities will come. And there's a big future behind NFTs, because we have to understand that NFTs are not just funny pictures like CryptoPunks, but they are a way of instant securing ownership of some asset. And when we think about it like this, you will understand how many possible ways of utilizing this there are.
Absolutely. I'm like so excited to see all the various utilities that will come forth from the NFT space too. And I think we're kind of in the beginning stages where people are experimenting and trying to find out what the best utilities and best use cases are. But I think there's so many unexplored at this point. So, no, that's super interesting. I'd love to pick your brain a little bit about the utilities. Any wild utilities out there that you're like that are really creative or innovative that you've seen on some of these projects, or are they for the most part pretty standard at this point?
So in terms of, I'll take this one. So in terms of utilities, it's a very good question, because we have current stage utilities, and we have like where we want to see the market going and the technology going. So the current stage utilities is what we see. First of all, it's important to state that we are extremely focusing on integrations right now, and many of the NFTs are yet to actually move through the bridge, because some of the NFT projects or the games have not launched yet. So we are, planting the seeds at that point. And for the kinds of utilities that we see for now, and for example, the ability to move projects are moving whole collections between one chain to the other for any kind of reason. And this is one. Second, we see NFTs moving specifically to be listed in one marketplace and the other on different protocols. So that's, for example, NFT that was minted on Algorand, for example, can actually travel to Ethereum and be listed on OpenSea. Or the other way around, NFT that was minted on Ethereum can be listed on Elrond, for example. So we had a very cool case that we saw an NFT moving from BSC or Elrond from one to the other. I don't exactly remember which one from who to whom, but on the arrival chain, not the departure chain, or the arriving chain, that NFT was sold in X150 from its original price on the original chain where it was minted. So this is one of the other utilities that we see, which is arbitrage of NFTs. So we actually see people listing up NFTs that are in abundance on one chain and are scarce on the other, and are getting actually higher valuation for them. So these are the current actions and the current utilities that we see for different kinds of NFTs, mainly for storing NFTs on a specific wallet, multiple NFTs, because that technology allows you to store basically EVM NFTs and non-EVM NFTs all on the same wallet, so it doesn't matter what's the origin of that wallet, and also the ability, of course, to move NFTs collections and list them on other marketplaces, and to act with different royalties mechanism and with the overall properties of that NFT on different ecosystem. Doesn't matter where that NFT was minted. And where we are building up the technology and where the market is being built up in terms of the need and the utilities of the NFTs, that's going back to, as I said, our vision is to have the main utility, which is seamless integration between wallets and the projects themselves. Let's say games, for example, again, the ability for any user with any wallet to connect to any game and have that game moving back and forth in a fast processing speed, moving those NFTs that are based on, let's say this game is on Algorand and I'm connecting up with Ethereum or with Polygon wallet. And then those NFTs are moving in a seamless way to the wallet back and forth, as much as if it was clicking on login, connect with Apple or with Google, something very easy. We want to break down this barrier of different wallets, managing different keys, managing different kinds of tokens and kinds of NFTs on specific wallets. We want to break all of this into making it truly seamless. So that's what basically make it mandatory for projects to connect to the bridge itself to support that user base. And this is something that we start seeing from the work that we do with projects and blockchains. And this is where we want to take the technology and the market as a whole.
Awesome, Nir. Thank you so much for that explanation. Sounds like I said, you got your hands full, but a really exciting and bright future for the project as a whole. So I'd love to see that integration for sure. Core Bible, did you have a question? Sorry, I didn't get to you earlier, but I think you were wanting to saw your hand go up. But did you have something to add to the conversation? Question?
Yes, I have something to add. Good evening, everyone. It's 6:43 p.m. here in West Africa, Lagos, Nigeria. So my question is, a lot of people, especially here in Nigeria, like the crypto industry has a lot of integration, but there is something that I spotted. Most NFT projects are basically what the utilities they provide are not related to the African context. So I've been looking for an NFT provider or an NFT blockchain or NFT company that provides Africa-based entertainment. You understand? This will actually increase adoption in, say, for instance, here in Nigeria. In Nigeria, we have a lot of techies. We have a lot of high school students who are interested in gaming, but we've not really seen any NFT game that is themed to the African or Nigerian context. In Nigeria, we have tons of traditional games. If a blockchain can actually tap into the growing crypto industry, especially here in Nigeria, because on the continent, Nigeria stands out as one major player when it comes to blockchain technology and use. So I'm wondering whether this platform will be able to tap into the African space to create African-themed NFTs, because the majority of the NFTs that I've been seeing, I don't think I've seen anything that is related to African context. I'm not saying the ones that are out there are pretty wrong, but if you're talking about innovation, if you're talking about adoption, if you want more people to be on board, you need to look at the African story, because in Africa, we are scaling up. And for you to even make more people get involved, adopt these NFTs and cryptocurrencies, you need to look at it from the aspect of the African eye. So I don't know if it doubles as a question or a suggestion, but this is a burning thing I've always wanted to bring up on this space. So I don't know if you guys have any answer to this. Thank you.
Well, can I answer this? Look,
Sure, take it.
that's a great point, of course, but I'll tell you this. Right now, everybody knows that there is a war between Russia and Ukraine, right? I'm sure everybody does, because it impacts everybody, including the African continent,
Yes.
which doesn't get the grain from Ukraine, and might even come to the verge of hunger because of lack of grain and corn. So I met during the conferences that we participate in, I met several projects that created NFT collections that are like that their utility is donating to the Ukrainian government or helping Ukrainian people cope with the problem that they've encountered. And those projects are run by the Ukrainians. So why I'm speaking about this, what do I mean? I mean that nobody knows better than you about the problems or history or culture of your area. So I'm sure Nigerians have everything it takes to start a project like this, an NFT project that will include local culture, local games that other places are not familiar with. You see, don't wait for anyone. Take it in your hands. Start it. You are a local person. You have everything it takes to start it. If you need help, meaning advice how to do things, talk to us. Okay, let's connect in Telegram. Let's jump on a Zoom call. We will help you with anything you need to start, but it should be in your hands. That's what I think.
Yeah. That's a very good suggestion, but it only works when we have like constant power, electricity, like running a major blockchain. For instance, you need power. There's no taking away that fact that electricity plays a major role. But in our part of the world, we are having serious issues with electricity. So for you to say probably someone starting like an NFT project, the sustainability is not really there. You understand? It's not really there. But if you say someone should create like an NFT and trade and sell and all, fine. But to say like have a proper gaming ecosystem where the servers are, you understand what I mean? It's practically impossible in our part of the continent, especially here in Nigeria. The power is not sustainable. So
Yes.
I understand what you mean by us taking the stuff, because there are a lot of developers here in Nigeria. There are a lot of people who design for people, but what you find is that most of them are actually leaving the country to come to European countries or even in the United States. Why? Because the environment to do that is a little bit lacking here in Nigeria. That's the problem. That's where we find ourselves. Even government, they are actually chasing after us. The regulations, they find out that you're running like a crypto business, they shut down your account. So there are sort of like restrictions here that we face to say, okay, someone wants to onboard or go large. Unless you have tons of money, large scale, that's where you see someone doing that. But in Europe or in the US, you can see that kind of level of freedom for someone to want to do that on their own. But in Nigeria, the context, the environment is not really friendly for us to do that. But we have a lot of people who can design NFT games, who can bring the ecosystem. That is why I trade up. Is there a way that you guys can try and incorporate the African continent into your games? You see more people from Africa adopting your games. But right here in Nigeria, to do that, electricity, government regulations, and so many things are just working against us.
Yeah, I got your point. I completely understand everything you're saying. I understand that there's a shortage of electricity in Nigeria, but the blockchains, they are for everybody. There are no borders in the blockchain world. You don't have to build your own blockchain. You don't have to launch your own blockchain in Nigeria. You can use the existing infrastructure and build something from what you have. Okay, to start an NFT project in Nigeria, you don't have to launch a new blockchain. Use the existing solutions. There are so many tutorials. There's a lot of documentation. There are many GitHub repositories with examples how you can do things. If you need help in a form of advice, you're welcome to come to our company. We will help you. We will tell you what to do. But again, nobody knows your culture and your situation better than you. So if you want this to start and flourish in Nigeria, there's no one better than yourself to do it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Awesome. I'm inspired personally. I want to go start something now. No, great question and great concerns. I definitely can sympathize with you there, and I do hope that more, projects are able to get involved with. I think that's one thing that's beautiful about blockchain, about crypto. Like you said, it is borderless. It's worldwide. All you need is that a basic internet connection, and you can have access to this centralized power, which is so much opportunity for so many. So we definitely hope to see that the goodness of crypto and blockchain and NFTs and everything kind of continue to spread throughout the world, and I don't think it'll leave anyone behind. To kind of wrap things up here, guys, unless you have anything else you wanted to add, in your opinion, we kind of talked about a couple of different areas of NFTs, though. But is there a particular part, I guess, industry or narrative of NFTs that you expect to kind of lead the next bull run, whether that be gaming or utility based or something else that we might be really thinking about, or domains? Is there a particular, I guess, narrative that you think will lead the charge?
So that's a great question. And what we see today is, we see the games as the main producer of NFTs that we see right now, in terms of potential, I mean. And still the main NFTs that we see are still art collections, basically. But the games in the metaverses has the potential to be expanding the market as a whole. This is why we see so many of them, so many going for, so many projects and startups are raising to build those games or metaverses. We saw this year we've been on a lot of conferences. One of them was Token 2049 Singapore, and there we saw amazing full graphic super crazy graphics and super mainstream approach to the gaming and NFTs. And this is exactly what we want to see. We actually had an AMA just this last Saturday with a game called Defiance, which is basically a collectibles cards game, which is a full functionality web game based on cards. They have 90 designers, so many maps, music, so it's a whole experience, and that is basically giving a face and approach to the crypto industry that was not there before. So I would go with games and metaverses, and this kind of experience can actually expand the market as a whole. It's worth mentioning as well to give a shout out to Opulus, one of our first partners that are actually creating music NFTs, and they've been charging strong with creating a lot of partnerships and a lot of mainstream coverage. So this is the mainstream cases of that we see from day to day, which is, I would say, leaned towards media and interaction. This is where we think, as XP, the NFTs are going to be leading first. And afterwards, or in parallel, we definitely see the ability for NFTs to take part in contracts and different kind of more commercial mechanics and mechanism that makes it much more secure and much more viable in terms of data and the interactions. So we definitely see the ability to have contract, for example, between two parties set off as an NFT. So this is the kind of things that we want to see, and we know that the market can afford in terms of creating. So this is where we aim and where we see the grounds shifting and going for.
Yeah. Also, Also, if I could add to that, yeah, one thing I've also noticed that is really good about this NFT metaverse thing is that people can now meet together in the metaverse. Like I've seen some applications where you can walk into. I think there's one called currently called Land Rocker or so. Yes, users can actually go into that metaverse space. They can interact together. It's more like how the way Call of Duty is, where you have real life experiences. I mean, the game has transcended from just P2P playing and playing against another person, but now people can now interact. I'm looking forward to a situation where someone probably in Lagos can be in Lagos and sit in the same room in the metaverse with someone in probably Germany, and they can interact, probably using a VR set or something. That's what I'm looking forward to. That would actually make the NFT space explode. I don't know if that's feasible already, but this will actually improve adoption because a lot of people are going beyond the connectivity of interacting via social media. I think humanity and the world now is moving into people being in the same um, virtual space, but they are not physically present there at the same time. So this will actually increase adoption. So some people can be at different places at the same time without actually going to that place. So that's my own view.
Yeah, 100%. I think VR and VR are both going to really explode over the next, it might still be a little while before we see, really powerful applications coming out. But I think as far as, getting that sense of feeling like you're with somebody or being, sharing up the same, taking up the same space as someone else, I think that's probably not too much farther in the future. And I think that could be, like you said, a really cool way for adoption in gaming in general, right? Because we have so many, gaming itself is such a huge industry, and we have this direct utility for NFTs and blockchain with ownership of assets and, that kind of thing. So having that readily available utility with a huge, already community, I think they're, like you said, going to lead to a lot of adoption and a lot of new faces to Web3. So, yeah. Well, guys, I definitely enjoyed the conversation. Is there anything else you guys wanted to share before we kind of wrap things up here? Or, yeah.
So first of all, thank you guys for hosting us. It's been a pleasure. We've been looking forward for this one. And I want to say that for everyone who wants to take part, those who are live here with us or listening to a recording after this, you are more than welcome to actually follow up on XP.NETWORK Telegram community and on our website. We have a new case study of a new project that is actually using and utilizing the bridge itself. Every week we are uploading a new case study, and we have a lot of updates that are coming towards the NFT market and the NFT projects. And we're looking forward to have like quick interactions and a quick Q&A between us and the community, something that we usually do once in a while. And this is where we talk about XP, the future, and the overall NFT market. So everyone is welcome to join, take part, and look up at XP.NETWORK.
Awesome, Nir and Dima. Thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate you guys sharing about the project, and we appreciate what you guys are doing for the space. Obviously, like I said, I think for the future of blockchain and crypto, we need this interoperability. We need this back end to run seamlessly while the front end is simplified, right, for users and for simplicity's sake. So, you guys are building a project that is so necessary and really going to help move this space forward. So, from our community, we thank you and are excited for what you guys are going to do in the future. And we'll definitely be in touch, and hopefully we can kind of hear back from you, going down the road and stay in contact, and, wish you guys all the best in your future endeavors.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys. We hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, thank you for being here and asking your questions, man. And best of luck to you. And, hopefully you get some inspiration today and kind of get some ideas and start thinking about what you can do to kind of move your country forward within the blockchain and community crypto space. So, yeah, guys, well, thank you so much. I'm going to wrap things up here, and we'll talk to you guys soon.